Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Hammurabi. It's been, I think, approximately 8 years since we did a book club. We're going to try and do them on a monthly basis now. As summer is over, we've moved house, the children are back at school. Everything is a little bit more calm and settled. So we have an actual update schedule, which is very exciting. First Friday of every month, we have a Soothing Stories with Megan, which are not always terribly soothing because I have done the Agushaya poem, which is basically a battle anthem for Ishtar. So we have a Soothing Stories with Megan. Second Friday of the month, we have a video from Josh. He's going over apocalyptic genre in the Hebrew Bible and extra biblical Hebrew sources such as Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I got that right. Yes. And the third Friday of the month will be our lovely selves. Hopefully next time I won't be half asleep and dressed like some kind of crazy person. And then on the final Friday of the month, you have a video from me, which is chosen by our patrons. And this month, and actually for the next 3 months, we're going to be doing intertextuality and plagiarism and why ancient reuse of texts and themes is not actually plagiarism.
All snizzle.
Yes.
My mizzle.
So that's what I've been doing today. I've been editing videos and making avatars of myself in costumes because I can. So next Friday you will have a video that includes Avatar Megan dressed as Robin Hood, dressed as Emma from Jane Austen's Emma, and also dressed as Cher from the movie Clueless. Because, I mean, why wouldn't I do that? So hello everyone who said hi in the chat. Lisa for Truth has said she's sorry. To me, she thinks that Dr. Josh is sexy. You have no need to apologize. I also think he is sexy. It is one of the many reasons why I married him. I am glad that other people also find him sexy.
That is very sweet. You guys are too kind.
Josh, what are we doing today?
That is a great question. What is it that I need to prep this? What's his name? The comedian talk show. Stephen Colbert. Your mama's so fat when she sits around the ziggurat, she sits around the ziggurat. And that is my intro for tonight's. It was really sad and I apologize for it profusely. We are doing Sumerian debate poems. And
I've been married to you for far too long if I'm doing that.
That's true. That's true. It's going to be great. It's very descriptive. It's going to be great.
It is. You got distracted by more people calling you sexy in the comments, didn't you?
I can't quite see that far.
More people are calling you sexy.
You guys might want to adjust the focus. Maybe that's the problem I need. There's a button that I haven't. Okay.
Although we're our 6-year-old here, she would be most perturbed by the level of fur, and yes, she calls it fur, that is on your face.
Isn't that technically true, all you biological evolution
I think
specialists?
It is technically true, but she would tell you very firmly that you have to go and shave.
Yeah. She would.
You have fur on your face.
I have fur on my face. So in our book clubs, for those of you that have not been with us before, our book clubs are designed to expose you to
Dr. Josh's sexiness.
Definitely.
Sorry, we have a new theme for the evening.
It's not that. That's not what it's for. I think there's a shot that you can take for that sort of thing. But we try to expose people to Akkadian and Sumerian literary texts. So one of the things, of course, all of our diehard fans are Assyriologists at heart anyway. So we don't have to, explain the importance of this to you. But of course, for those of you that may be joining us for the first time, there is a whole world of ancient literature out there that is not contained in, the writings from Greece or from the biblical texts,
or Rome,
or Egypt. We have the best of the best.
We have the best words, people.
We have the best words.
We do have the best words.
Chab is a nice guy. but I'll tell you, he's a little girl. Sorry.
I'm not sure if you're now parodying President Trump or Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, see, this
maybe
is...
both.
Yeah, see,
maybe we're so meta we're
this
parodying
is really the problem.
both.
I don't watch the news. It's been forever since I've watched the news, so I don't actually know what the president sounds like necessarily. But I do listen sometimes to Saturday Night Live parodies of the president, so it's probably what I'm channeling. Anyway, I don't know where we got on that.
That we have fantastic literature in Mesopotamia.
Yes. For those of you that are curious, I did see that. I have no idea why I can see that. If you're curious about Megan's wrist, you see this scar right here?
I'm fine. I have carpal tunnel syndrome, so sometimes I need to strap it. Thank you for your concern, though. I'm absolutely fine. I should really, in all honesty, see a doctor at some point and stop beating my husband. That would probably stop it hurting quite so badly. I don't really beat my husband, and domestic abuse is an awful thing to take lightly, so sorry.
Yeah. I was laughing at the fact that you said strap.
We're getting off to a roaring start. You can tell we both need a hell of a lot more sleep than we're currently getting. Anyway, we're doing a Sumerian debate poem today.
Yes.
I don't know which one. Josh, which one are we
all
doing?
Of them. We're going to do all of them. Unless you want to debate about it.
This is not going to help our sleep issues.
No, probably not.
No.
We're going to try to keep these to an hour unless things get really exciting, which they obviously will. No, we're going to try to keep it to an hour. But I think we're going to start off with hoe and plow.
Excellent.
Do you want to tell them about ETCSL?
Yeah, so it's always worth reviewing. ETCSL is the Electronic Text Corpus of Sumerian Literature.
Yeah, it is.
Because Assyriologists are spectacular at acronyms. And it is freely available online. You can just search ETCSL, and we'll also link it in the description. I think it's linked in most of our videos anyway. But it is a fantastic resource. It has all Sumerian literature that we know of. The vast majority of Sumerian literary texts certainly are on that website in translation and in transliteration, which means you can both read it in English but also read it in Sumerian.
And if you are interested in becoming an Assyriologist, or you're taking my Sumerian class, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and you want to see some of you want to do some practice, or if you're really ambitious and you want to find the tablets that are the sources for the composite transliteration, they'll have them down at the bottom.
Yep, they have bibliographies, they have tablet numbers, so you can go and look up where this information is coming from, try and read the cuneiform for yourself.
Yeah.
Which is always a brave endeavor. And if you do that, don't...
you said doo-doo.
If you do search out cuneiform tablets online, don't be disheartened, because reading cuneiform from photographs is incredibly difficult. And I can't do it, so...
It's very tough.
Yeah.
But, so the debates... we don't have to go into a lot of detail about this, but essentially what you see in, and maybe we're certainly not going to get through all of them. So maybe we'll do a second part to this where we'll go into a little bit of detail about maybe the rationale behind the debates, but we'll just keep it sort of simple for now. Basically, you have two entities that debate with one another about who's better. So, the ones that are here on ETCSL are a debate between the hoe and the plow. And so you can imagine in this agrarian sort of society, debating having a hoe, a smaller instrument, a hand tool that's debating with this larger but much more cumbersome and sort of finicky plow. Who's better? One can dig up much more earth, but one, is perhaps more versatile, doesn't break as often. So they debate with one another about their good qualities and the other's bad qualities. And then at the end, a deity usually makes a decision about who won the debate and who's better. So you have the hoe versus the plow, grain versus sheep, winter versus summer, bird and fish, copper versus silver, and then date palm versus tamarisk. There are others. There are debates between women, debates between scribes, but this is a pretty good start.
Before we get going, Lisa for Truth wants to know, what do we know of Neil Asher Silberman? I know nothing of them.
It's a movie star, I think.
Sorry, no help here.
I don't know what you said. Neil
Asher Silberman.
Is that a person?
I assume so.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know.
We tried.
I didn't. Well, I mean, I guess I did. It was not a very good attempt. Okay. Sorry, Lisa. So I guess we're ready to begin.
Yep, go for it.
Okay. Oh, the hoe, the hoe, the hoe, tied together with thongs. The hoe made from poplar with a tooth of ash. The hoe made from tamarisk with a tooth of sea thorn. The hoe double-toothed, four-toothed. The hoe, child of the poor, bereft even of a loincloth. The hoe started a quarrel with the plow. The hoe, having engaged in a dispute with the plow, the hoe addressed the plow. Plow, you draw furrows. What does your furrowing matter to me? You break clods. What does your clod breaking matter to me? When water overflows, you cannot dam it up. You cannot fill baskets with earth. You cannot press clay to make bricks. You cannot lay foundations or build a house. You cannot strengthen an old wall's base. You cannot put a roof on a good man's house. Plow, you cannot straighten the town squares. Plow, you draw furrows. What does your furrowing matter to me? You make clods. What does your clod making matter to me? So...
Fighting words.
Yeah.
Fighting words.
But you hear what he's doing, obviously. He's drawing attention to the contrast between them. Look, wow, big deal, big bad plow, right? You get pulled and you dig a trench, you make clods of dirt. Wow. But me, like I can do all these other little things. I can make a foundation strong. I can help make bricks. I can dam up water when, I can do all these things. What can you do with that? You can't do anything, right? So, yeah.
The plough addressed the hoe. I am the plough, fashioned by great strength, assembled by great hands, the mighty registrar of Father Enlil. I am mankind's faithful farmer. To perform my festival in the fields in the harvest month, the king slaughters cattle and sacrifices sheep, and he pours beer into a bowl. The king offers the gathered libation. The ub and ala drums resound. The king takes hold of my handles and harnesses my oxen to the yoke. All the great high-ranking persons walk at my side. All the lands gaze at me in great admiration. The people watch me in joy. The furrow tilled by me adorns the plain. Before the stalks erected by me in the fields, the teeming herds of Shakan kneel down. In performing my labour amid the ripened barley, I vie with the mighty scythe. After the reaped and the grain have been gathered, the shepherd's churn is improved. With my sheaves spread over the meadows, the sheep of Dumuzi are improved. My threshing floors punctuating the plain are yellow hillocks radiating beauty. I pile up stacks and mounds for Enlil. I amass emmer and wheat for him. I fill the storehouses of mankind with barley. The orphans, the widows, and the destitute take their reed baskets and glean my scattered ears. People come to drag away my straw piled up in the fields. The teeming herds of Shakan thrive. Hoe, digging miserably, weeding miserably with your teeth. Hoe, burrowing in the mud. Hoe, putting its head in the mud of the fields, spending your days with the brick molds in mud with nobody cleaning you, digging wells, digging ditches, digging. Wood of the poor man's hand, not fit for the hands of high-ranking persons. The hand of a man's slave is the only adornment of your head. You deliver deep insults to me. You compare yourself to me. When I go out to the plain, everyone looks on, but the hoe does not. The plough, and insultingly you call me plough, the digger of ditches. So if you're joining us for one of these for the first time, if we leave gaps in what we're saying, that's because there's a gap in the tablet. So rather than try and either make something up to fill in that gap or just kind of gloss over it, we want you to be aware that we don't have complete texts for a lot of these. So yeah, if there's a gap, that's because there's nothing for me to read, basically. So the plow is basically coming back to the hoe and saying, you may be able to do all this stuff, but the one job that I perform is so very important that I have the king walking with me, I have the high-ranking people of the city walking with me. I am the reason that the poor and the destitute get fed. And you are just put in the dirt, and no one cares about you, and you're never cleaned.
And you're a dumb face.
Also, you're a dumb face.
Okay. Is it that one?
No.
Oh, okay. I see it. The hoe addressed the plow. Plow, what does my being small matter to me? What does my being exalted matter to me? What does my being powerful matter to me? At Enlil's place, I take precedence over you. In Enlil's temple, I stand ahead of you. I build embankments, I dig ditches. I fill all the meadows with water. When I make water pour into all the reed beds, my small baskets carry it away. When a canal is cut or when a ditch is cut, when water rushes out at the swelling of a mighty river, creating lagoons on all sides, I, the hoe, dam it up. Neither south nor north wind can separate it. The fowler gathers eggs, the fisherman catches fish. People empty bird traps. Thus the abundance I create spreads over all the lands. After the water has been diverted from the meadows and the work on the wet areas is taken in hand, plow, I come down to the fields before you. I initiate the opening up of the field for you. I clear the recesses of the embankment for you. I remove the weeds in the field for you. I heap up the stumps and the roots in the field for you. But when you work the field, there is a procession. Your oxen are 6, your people 4. You yourself are the 11th, the preparatory work in the field. And you want to compare yourself with me? When you come out to the field after me, your single furrow brings you pleasure. When you put your head to work and get entangled in roots and thorns, your tooth breaks. Once your tooth is fixed, you cannot hold on to your tooth. Your farmer calls you, this plow is done for. Carpenters have to be hired again for you, people for you. A whole workshop of artisans surrounds you. The fullers depilate. I don't know that word.
What is it?
Depilate.
That's where you take the hair off something.
I really am smart. Guys don't even know. I am smart. I said dilapidate. That's pretty close though, right?
Not far off.
Fleece for you. They stretch it over the wringer for you. They toil at the straps for you. Then they place the foul hide on your head. Your work is slight, but your behavior is grand. My time of duty is 12 months, but your effective time is 4 months, and your time of absence is 8 months. You are gone for twice as long as you are present. Upon your boat you make a hut. When you are put on board and your hands rip up the beams, your face has to be pulled from the water like a wine jar. And after I have made a pile of logs, my smoke dries you out in the house. What happens to your seeding funnel if it once falls? Anyone who drops you smashes it. making it a completely destroyed tool. I am the hoe, and I live in the city. No one is more honored than I am. I am a servant following his master. I am one who builds a house for his master. I am one who broadens the cattle stalls, who expands the sheepfolds. I press clay and make bricks. I lay foundations and build a house. I strengthen an old wall's base. I put a roof on a good man's house. I am the hoe. I straighten the town squares. When I have gone through the city and built its sturdy walls, have made the temples of the great gods splendid and embellished them with brown, yellow, and decorative clay, I build in the city of the palace where the inspectors and overseers live. When the weakened clay has been built up and the fragile clay buttressed, they refresh themselves when the time is cool in houses I have built. Excuse me. When they rest on their sides by a fire which a hoe has stirred up, you do not come to the joyous celebration. They feed the laborer, give him drink, and pay him his wages. Thus I have enabled him to support his wife and children. I make a kiln for the boatman and heap pitch for him. By fashioning Magor and Magilum boats for him, I enable the boatman to support his wife and children. I plant a garden for the householder. When the garden has been encircled, surrounded by mud walls, and the agreements reached, people again take up the hoe. When a well has been dug, a water lift constructed, and a water hoist hung, I straighten the plots. I am the one who puts water in the plots. After I have made the apple tree grow, it is I who bring forth its fruits. These fruits adorn the temples of the great gods. Thus, I enable the gardener to support his wife and children. It's a very long section. After I have worked on the watercourse and the sluices, put the path in order, and built a tower there on its banks, those who spend the day in the fields and the field workers who match them by night go up into that tower. These people revive themselves there, just as in their well-built city. The waterskins I made they use to pour water. I put life into their hearts again. Insultingly, you call me Plow, the digger of ditches.
Have we switched from hoe to plow?
Oh, no, I think he's quoting... Actually, I don't know what
he's quoting the plow.
But when I have dug out the fresh water for the plain and dry land where no water is, those who have thirst refresh themselves at my wellhead. Sorry. Trying to get my bearings here. What then does one person say to another? What does one tell another in detail? The shepherd adorns the plain with his ewes and lambs. After the heavens had been turned upside down, after bitter lament had been imposed on Sumer. No, I don't. Sorry. Just reading ahead. After the heavens had been turned upside down, after bitter lament had been imposed on Sumer, after as houses were overwhelmed by the rivers and Enlil frowned in anger upon the land, Enlil had flooded the harvest. After Enlil had acted mightily thus, Enlil did not abandon us. The single-toothed hoe was struck against the dry earth. For us you raise winter like the harvest time. We take away the hand of summer and winter. Hoe, the binder, ties the sheaves. Binding bird traps, it ties the reed baskets. The solitary laborer and the destitute are supported. They glean the scattered ears. Whew. Oh.
The hoe was having literally none of that.
Yeah.
We have people in the chat, by the way, taking sides.
Oh.
Which I like quite a lot.
So let's, before we finish, who do we think's going to win? By the way, y'all need Jesus. I guess if you think the hoe's going to win, I was going to say put one, but you probably just say hoe.
And we will get to questions. We've got 10 more lines. So once we finish this, then we'll get to questions, because I have been seeing people asking questions in the chat.
Cool. All right. Anyway.
Joan Epstein has been literally chanting ho in the side chat. And we're also getting, every time someone types ho, the comments are held by YouTube in case you're being rude and vulgar.
Excuse me.
So it looks like
Yes.
Yeah, most people are going with hose. Couple of people saying the plough. We will see. Then the storm spoke. The mortar lies still while the pestle pounds. People fight with grinding stones. The sieve disputes with the strainer. What have you done to the one who is angry? Why are you scornful of Azina? Why plough is the ripened grain in your seeding funnel? Enlil addressed the hoe. Ho, do not start getting so mightily angry. Do not be so mightily scornful. Is not Nisaba the ho's inspector? Is not Nisaba its overseer? The scribe will register your work. He will register your work. Ho, whether he enters 5 or 10 gig in your account. Ho, whether he enters 1/3 or 1/2 mana in your account. Ho, like a maidservant, always ready, you will fulfill your task. The hoe, having engaged in a dispute with the plough, the hoe triumphed over the plough. Praise be to Nisaba. The hoe wins.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean,
You know what we should do to celebrate? How about some gold bracelets?
Indeed.
Indeed.
So, we did have some questions. Let me... Science Side Up says that she is way less useful to society than a hoe. If a hoe can indeed be used for that many jobs, then I think we're probably all less useful to society. Let's have a look. Anthony Adams, I think, is asking what animals drew plows in Sumer. Oxen. Actually, I think it's said in the poem after you finished asking the question.
Sometimes large rabbits.
No, not large rabbits.
Nope. Aliens, maybe.
People are suggesting this is the first beat poem.
The what?
Beat poem? Like beatniks.
I don't know what that means.
We'll look it up later. It involves finger snapping and spotlights and one person on a stage being deep and profound.
Oh.
Ethan McNally, were there rhyme patterns in the original Sumerian? I don't know.
Rhymes? No. The interesting thing about this particular poem, no.
Is that wordplay?
No, that's the Song of the Hoe.
Oh, okay.
The Song of the Hoe. So the word hoe is all. And in the Song of the Hoe, which is another literary text, all can be a verbal prefix. It can actually be a bunch of different things. But anyway, it shows up. There's a lot of play with all.
Tim Smith says, do you think the message might be for humans to know that we need both?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a... before I give a definitive answer on that, I'd like to read the secondary literature. But that's going to be my stock phrase and my stock response. But, certainly these debates all involve two very important things to society, right? So sheep and grain, bird and fish, silver, copper. I mean, these are, all very important things, hoe, plow. But I think these, if I remember, well, I'm going to hold off because we'll do an introduction to this in another one. We decided to do these on the way home.
Driving back from dinner with my father-in-law.
So
we're like, what should we talk about tonight? Oh, the debates. Sure. Neglecting the fact that the debates are a genre in and of themselves and have a lot of additional reading associated with them. I've actually never read these never translated through any of these, so I'm not very familiar with the language. If we were doing royal inscriptions, which was another possibility, but they're less interesting. I could talk to you for hours about royal inscriptions. We'd be great. Debates, not so much. Vlad Tepes is wondering if this was possibly meant to be a morale boost for the downtrodden, as Enlil favors the hoe, even though it was rudimentary compared to the plow.
I think, again, we'll just have to look. There might be some more recent literature on this that will inform me. But I think that, if my memory is serving me correctly, this is some sort of these are acted out before the king. So I think this is like court texts. But yeah,
maybe
we'll do a good introduction
in all of our copious free time.
Yes.
Steve Bowden, plowing the hoe can be...
It is so hot in here. Do you know that? How is it so hot in here?
You have multiple sclerosis.
Oh. Yes, I guess it's not that hot.
Steve Bowden, plowing the furrow can be slang for sex. I wondered if the hoe was mocking the plow. I don't know.
I have to go for a walk.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. We're going to have a lot of I don't knows in response to these questions, people. I'm very sorry. Sorry, everyone. I'm just scrolling down to make sure I haven't missed any questions. Oh, yep. Everyone's very pleased that Ho won. That is excellent news. Yeah, good. I'm caught up. There are no questions that I missed. Oh, sorry. The one downside to wearing this thing is my wrist gets awfully itchy, which is very annoying. See, now Josh has opened the door. It is actually colder in the rest of the house than it is in here. Unfortunately, it's because we've got that light. We have a very shiny light. So, so Fox and Barrett is asking if this could be more in the frame of common man versus nobility. So I'm not going to say definitively one way or the other because I've said like 4 times already. I haven't read enough of the actual literature. I don't know exactly where these tablets were found. I will say, generally speaking, we don't get literary texts in like domestic contexts so much. We have some, but we don't have a lot. Most of our literary texts come from scribal education areas, which are usually elite locations or in like royal library settings, like the library at Nineveh. So it could be like a common man versus the elite thing, but it was most likely found in an elite context. So without going into detail, without doing any research in it, that seems like it is less likely. It would be fantastic if it was, but I don't know. Sorry. I think Josh has actually gone outside. He might not be coming back. It might just be you and me. And I don't think I'm awake enough to hold this together. Oh, Tim Smith says it seems to be, to him, to be urban versus rural, which is something we do see. You see a lot of prioritization of urban life and city life just generally in Mesopotamia, and the people who don't live in cities are uncivilized. They're less important, like nomads are looked down on, even though they're very important for the economy and for society in general. So you do see that kind of nomadic urban divide. So that's a possibility.
Sorry, I had to go stand under a fan.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you'd gone outside.
It's hot outside.
Oh, we're not going outside. Apparently if you giggle, it wakes you up.
Really? What the heck are you even talking about?
What are we doing next, my love?
Oh. I don't be knowing. We
What?
can do another one.
Go for it.
All right, sir.
Oh, Shannon Gilbert. Are there any archaeological finds of hoes or plows from the era?
7. I'm just kidding.
There
is a series that we could look at to find out.
There's a whole publication devoted to agriculture. I don't know, is the very easy answer to that. I'd be surprised if there are a lot, because wood does not generally survive that well in the archaeological record. Yeah. But it's possible. We obviously know they were being used because they turn up all the time in texts. So, but I don't know. We should look. That would be interesting.
Which one would you like to read? You pick. Because you're gorgeous.
How about bird and fish?
Alrighty. You want to start? Or you want me to?
I will.
Okay.
The debate between bird and fish. In those ancient days when the good destinies had been decreed, and after Arn and Enlil had set up the divine rules of heaven and earth, then the third of them, the Lord of broad wisdom, Enki, the master of destinies, gathered together and founded dwelling places. He took in his hand waters to encourage and create good seed. He laid out side by side the Tigris and the Euphrates, and caused them to bring water from the mountains. He scored out the smaller streams and positioned the other watercourses. Enki made spacious sheepfolds and cattle pens, and provided shepherds and herdsmen. He founded cities and settlements throughout the earth, and made the black-headed multiply. He provided them with a king as shepherd, elevating him to sovereignty over them. The king rose as the daylight over the foreign countries. Enki knit together the marshlands, making young and old reeds grow there. He made birds and fish live in the pools and lagoons. He gave all kinds of living creatures as their sustenance, placed them in charge of this abundance of the gods. When Nudimud, august prince, the lord of broad wisdom, had fashioned, he filled the reed beds and marshes with fish and birds, indicated to them their positions, and instructed them in their divine rulings. Then fish laid its eggs in the lagoons, bird built its nest in a gap in the reed beds. But bird frightened the fish of the lagoons in its. Fish took up a stand and cried out. Grandiosely it initiated hostilities. It roused the street by quarrelling in an overbearing manner. Fish addressed bird murderously.
Right here.
Yep.
Bird, there is no insult, croaking, noise in the marshes, squawking, forever gobbling away greedily while your heart is dripping with evil. Standing on the plain, you can keep pecking away until they chase you off. The farmer's sons lay lines and nets for you in the furrows. The gardener sets up nets against you in gardens and orchards. He cannot rest his arm from firing his sling. He cannot sit down because of you. You cause damage in the vegetable plots. You are a nuisance. In the damp parts of the fields, there are your unpleasing footprints. Bird, you are shameless. You fill the courtyard with your droppings. The courtyard sweeper boy who cleans the house chases after you with ropes. By your noise, the house is disturbed. Your din drives people away. They bring you into the fattening shed. They let you moo like cattle, bleat like a sheep. They pour out cool water in jugs for you. They drag you away for the daily sacrifice. The fowler brings you with bound wings. The fisherman brings you into the palace. They tie up your wings and beak. Your squawking is to no profit. What are you flapping about? With your ugly voice, you frighten the night. No one can sleep soundly. Bird, get out of the marshes. Get this noise of yours off my back. Go out of here into a hole on the rubbish heap. That suits you.
It's a bit rude.
I think a mashup is going to do a... Is that what it's called? Mashup?
I don't know.
That show that you... Or the... With Niche and...
Oh, the MASH report.
I was way off.
Sorry, I didn't know if you meant like a singing thing.
No, the... Like how to not be a... awful person on social media or something.
Briefly, Steve Bowden, did the Sumerians read entrails? Yes. Extispicy, haruspicy, was reading the entrails of the sheep, specifically the liver, was one of the main ways that they received messages from the gods. So yes, this was very important.
Megan, if you don't know a word, don't make something up. Horospice. Ew. Grody to the max. Grody with a spoon. We need more sleep. You just licked my nose.
I know.
It was amazing.
I was telling myself I really shouldn't do that.
Oh no, you definitely should have. That was great.
I did.
You're the cutest thing ever.
I love you. Thus, fish insulted bird on that day. But bird, with multicolored plumage and multicolored face, was convinced of its own beauty, and did not take to heart the insults fish had cast at it. As if it were a nursemaid singing a lullaby, it paid no attention to the speech, despite the ugly words that were being uttered. A lesson for us all.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
How has your heart become so arrogant, while you yourself are so lowly?
I think that the song that the bird was singing was, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck. Okay, sorry.
Your mouth is flabby, but although your mouth goes all the way round, you cannot see behind you. You are bereft of hips, as also of arms, hands and feet. Try bending your neck to your feet. Your smell is awful. You make people throw up. They sneer at you. Evidence here that, since time immemorial, people have hated the smell of fish. No trough would hold the kind of prepared food you eat. He who has carried you dare not let his hand touch his skin. In the great marshes and the wide lagoons, I am your persecuting demon. You cannot eat the sweet plants there, as my voice harasses you. You cannot travel with confidence in the river, as my storm cloud covers you. As you slip through the reed beds, you are always beneath my eyes. Some of your little ones are destined to be my daily offering. You give them to me to allay my hunger. Some of your big ones are just as certainly destined for my banqueting hall. In the mud. I think this got really dark really quickly.
Yeah.
This went from, you're really noisy, shut the hell up, to, I'm going to eat your children.
It's
there wasn't a whole lot in between there.
Yeah, but it really is like social media.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, it's someone saying, I don't like you very much, and the other person saying, I will legitimately kill you.
Yeah, it's really sad.
But I am the beautiful and clever bird. Fine artistry went into my adornment, but no skill has been expended on your holy shaping. Strutting about in the royal palace is my glory. My warbling is considered a decoration in the courtyard. The sound I produce in all its sweetness is a delight for the person of Shulgi, son of Enlil. Fruits and produce of gardens and orchards are the enormous daily offerings due to me. Groats, flour, malt, hulled barley, and emmer are sweet things to my mouth. How do you not recognize my superiority from this? Bow your neck to the ground. Wow. That's it's harsh.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, fish was mean, but that was something.
Reassimilated.
Indeed. From the top.
Thus bird insulted fish on that occasion. Fish became angry, and trusting in its heroic strength and solidness, swept across the bottom like a heavy rain cloud. It took up the quarrel. It did not take to heart the insults that bird had cast at it. It did not bring itself to submit, but spoke unrestrainedly. Again, fish replied to bird. Chopped off beak and legs, deformed feet, cleft mouth, thin tongue.
Wow.
You clatter away in your ignorance, with never any reflection. Gluttonous, malformed, filling the courtyard with droppings. The little sweeper boy sets nets in the house and chases you with ropes. The baker, the brewer, the porter, all those who live in the house are annoyed with you. Bird, you have not examined the question of my greatness. You have not taken due account of my nature. You could not understand my weakness and my strength, yet you spoke inflammatory words. Once you have really looked into my achievements, you will be greatly humbled. Your speech contains grave errors. You have not given it due consideration. I am fish. I am responsibly charged with providing abundance for the pure shrines. To the great offerings at the lustrous Acor, I go proudly with head raised high. Just like Azina, I am here to satisfy the hunger of the land. I am her helper. Therefore, people pay attention to me, and they keep their eyes upon me. As at the harvest festival, they rejoice over me and take care of me. Bird, whatever great deeds you may have achieved, I will teach you their pretentiousness. I shall hand back to you in your turn your haughtiness and mendacious speech.
Wow.
It's on.
It really is. Thereupon Fish conceived a plot against Bird. Silently, furtively, it slithered alongside. When Bird rose up from her nest to fetch food for her young, Fish searched for the most discreet of silent places. It turned her well-built nest of brushwood into a haunted house. It destroyed her well-built house and tore down her storeroom. It smashed the eggs she had laid and threw them into the sea. Thus Fish struck at Bird and then fled into the waters. Then Bird came, lion-faced and with an eagle's talons, flapping its wings towards the nest. It stopped mid-flight. Like a hurricane whirling in the midst of heaven, it circled the sky. Bird, looking about for its nest, spread wide its limbs. It trampled over the broad plain after its well-built nest of brushwood. Its voice shrieked into the interior of heaven like the mistress's. Bird sought for Fish, searching the marshes. Bird peered into the deep water for Fish, watching closely. Extending its claws, it just snatched from the water Fish's tiny fish spawn, gathering them all together and piling them up in a heap. Thus Bird took revenge and its heart. Again Bird replied to Fish. You utter fool, dolt, muddle-headed fish, you are out of. The mouths of those who circle the key never get enough to eat, and their hunger lasts all day. Swine, rascal, gorging yourself upon your own excrement, you freak. I want to see what word they're translating as freak here, because that's interesting. We can look. You are like a watchman living on the walls. Fish, you kindled fire against me, you planted henbane. In your stupidity you caused devastation. You have spattered your hands with blood. Your arrogant heart will destroy itself by its own deeds. But I am Bird, flying in the heavens and walking on the earth. Wherever I travel to, I am there for the joy of its... something. O Fish, bestowed by the great princes, I am a first-class seed, and my young are firstborn young. There's some little broken bits that I'm going to skip. How can you not recognize my preeminence? Bow your neck to the ground.
Where are you at?
There we go.
I don't see it.
Again,
oh,
Bird.
Okay. Again, Bird had hurled insults at Fish. We're coming to the end, folks. Then Fish shouted at Bird, eyeing it angrily. Do not puff yourself up from your lying mouth. Our judge shall take this up. Let us take our case to Enki, our judge and adjudicator. And so, with the two of them jostling and continuing the evil quarrel in order to establish, the one over the other, their grandness and preeminence, the litigation was registered with Eridu, and they put forward their argumentation, thrashing about amid roaring like that of a bull, rushed forward like... They requested a verdict from King Shulgi, son of Enlil. The bird speaks. You, Lord of true speech, pay attention to my words. I had put and laid eggs there, had bestowed, and had given as their sustenance. After had started, he destroyed my house. He turned my nest of brushwood into a haunted house. He destroyed my house and tore down my storeroom. He smashed my eggs and threw them into the sea. Examine what I have said. Return a verdict in my favor. She prostrated herself to the ground. Announced the word august, spoke from the heart. Your words are sterling words, such as delight the heart. Shulgi speaks. For how long are they going to persist in quarreling? Like came out supreme, like budding, they jostled each other. Now Fish speaks. Sorry about this. Let it be favorable to me. Shulgi speaks. I shall instruct you in the divine rules and just ordinances of our dwelling place. Like Enki, king of the Abzu, I am successful in finding solutions, and I am wise in words. He answered, bird and fish. To strut about in the Acor is a glory for bird, as its singing is sweet. At Enlil's holy table, bird, precedence over you. It shall utter its cries in the temple of the great gods. The Anuna gods rejoice at its voice. It is suitable for banquets in the great dining hall of the gods. It provides good cheer in the king's palace, with head high at the table of Shulgi, son of Enlil. The king, long life. Thereupon fish, bird, then 6 fragmentary lines. Enki, bestowed. Okay. Because bird was victorious over fish in the dispute between fish and bird, Father Enki be praised. And there you go. Bird and fish.
That one got kind of, well, violent.
I remember translating parts of that in class. Yeah, it was, man, there are some deleted messages going on.
We'll discuss those later.
Oh. Well, there you
go. Sean Michael, we are not reading Sitchin, we are reading Sumerian debate poetry. I'm going to put a link in the description, but if you Google ETCSL, then you will be able to find the poems pretty easily. They're nice. And, well, these ones aren't nice. These ones are interesting but violent.
Yeah.
So.
I but thee. Well, yeah, we've gone about 50 minutes. So it's probably don't have time to read another one, but we can, I don't know, kind of wrap things up. Does anybody have any last minute questions before we go offline? We're good. Again, if you joined us after the beginning, we're trying to keep these hangouts to an hour.
Oh, and Shannon Gilbert has an excellent point. She says, if I'm understanding this correctly, in this rap battle, fish can leave the water and start fires, and the bird can transform its head into a lion and create storms. I think they may be Pokemon.
Nice.
Yep, I'd go with that.
Gotta catch them all. You know what I want to be? The very best.
Like no one ever was?
Like no one ever was.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of Pokemon.
You want me to sing it? I want to be... Okay, sorry. I think like 9 people just left instantly. Oh, gosh. This has been fun.
It has been lots of fun. Thank you all for joining us. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. It does help us out. It means YouTube likes us more and shows us to more people. Anthony Adams, are these all from one source? We've closed it down. I don't know. I don't think so.
You talking about all the tablets?
Yeah.
No, I know that these are... well, I'd have to look. But no, I suspect they're... I mean, I'm sure there are a lot from Nippur, but...
Yep.
I did want to say that I just finished... So Megan said in the beginning of the stream that I'm going to be taking some time and doing apocalyptic genre videos. And, excuse me, so I'm starting with Daniel. It's not really what I intended to do, but peer pressure? I don't know. That's what I want to call it. So I did a very short video recently on Daniel chapter 9. And again, it was just sort of a summary thing. But I now am going to... I just finished a script on the dating of Daniel. I'm going to do it in 3 parts. We're going to look at the linguistic data. So we're looking at the Aramaic, and then we'll be looking at the Hebrew, and then a very little bit on some of the loan words, or some of the loan words that occur. Anyway, that should be interesting. So I just finished the script, the first of 3, for looking at the Aramaic. And yeah, it should be good. It's a little technical. It's because people have said I wasn't being technical enough. So this, getting what you ask for sometimes doesn't, I don't know, doesn't really work out. But we shall see.
So we have a comment. JLP says, "Thank you both for helping me better be able to examine the information that I had based my former beliefs on. You were essential in my decision and it was appreciated."
Oh, gosh.
I'm glad we could help.
Yeah.
Really, all we want to do is make knowledge accessible to people.
It's interesting. I had and then I'm going to wrap up after this, but I had a very short conversation this afternoon. And I one of the things that I have started to do recently, given the fact that, man, there are a lot of messages. I can't read them, but there are a lot of things.
Don't worry.
Okay. Sorry. I don't have time to look up a lot of the things that get debated on places like Twitter and YouTube and whatever, particularly when it comes to biblical texts. So looking at things like Luke chapter 2 and the details of that, I don't really have time to do research into all that. However, what I have become accustomed to doing now, and it's actually very effective and exactly what I want to do, is asking the question to someone who challenges me or says something that I think is they're not thinking through their position, is to ask them what secondary literature have they read, what scholars, peer-reviewed scholars, have they read, and what do those scholars say about your particular position? Can you name a couple? Do some citations that not bolster, but hold your position. Anyway, I had a comment back. I feel like I'm rambling a bit. Had a comment back tonight that basically said, I don't need to have citations. It's so simple and straightforward that why would I need citations for that? That's the purpose of our channel, to try to get everybody to realize it's not that you always need citations. It's that a lot of this stuff is incredibly complex. And, as I say quite often, if you think it's simple and straightforward, particularly something that's debated, you probably don't understand it. And I think that's the case here. So, I'm excited that we can help, people, learn to think through some of these things. Anyway,
we have a couple of questions and then we're going to wrap it up. Steve, you're not blocked. I can still see all of your comments. So I don't know what's happening there. Anthony Adams wants to know if all of the debates are from one time period.
I'd have to look and see if they go back to the Orthodox period, but the bulk, if not all, are from the Old Babylonian period, so early 2nd millennium. But I'd have to look specifically. I'd have to look specifically to see if any come from earlier.
Noah Crabtree says Daniel Yay, which is a great response. He is reading Daniel 9, chapter 6, Daniel 6 right now for comps. Good luck with comps, sir.
Wow.
Good luck. Comps are...
Who said that?
Noah Crabtree.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. There was one more. Oh, right. Vixel asked what the GDP of ancient Mesopotamia was.
7.
Not 7.
Oh.
This is tricky because ancient Mesopotamia covers 4,000 years and several different empires, several different kingdoms. So that's a difficult one to answer. I'm also not an economy specialist, which makes it even more difficult to answer. So the short answer is I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. Tim Smith says he hopes we are settled into our new home. We are getting there. There are still many boxes, but it's...
Boxing.
many boxing, but it's very nice. We're enjoying ourselves. Science Side Up. Do you think saying I don't need citations would be a good opening line for my dissertation? You go for it, Maddie.
Oh, that's funny.
Jules 2.0. I do have a question. Is there any evidence of the royal we in these ancient languages, including Sumerian?
The royal we, like a magisterial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's argued. I'd have to look back at the specifics, but I mean, there's an argument, particularly in like Genesis, so let us make man in our own image. That's magisterial plural. I'd have to look. I haven't looked at that in probably 10 years.
But I don't see it in royal inscriptions. You regular single first person pronouns. I am the king. I built this house, temple, whatever. So not in that sense. Not that I can think of in a divine sense in the literary texts. But like Josh says, maybe in some Hebrew. Yes, so we are done. Thank you all for joining us. Mods, you guys did a fantastic job. We had a friend join us tonight. I think it was one person on several different accounts. So thank you all for paying such close attention. You guys are amazing. And I am truly happy to have you all as our friends and viewers. So thank you. Do you want to take us out?
Yes, I do. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, resist poor scholarship. Always ask, how do you know that?